So I'm working on the disassembly here. I've got this piece off. That goes right in here, and you can see the clips underneath it. You've got 3 clips and then a little push pin piece. Goes right in here. I started using, a little tip of advice, I started using this metal piece, and I started prying up here, and I cracked a little piece off. So if you're using anything metal, be really careful where you're prying from, and don't do that. But you start over here, you take these both sides off, and then there's a little bolt right there you're gonna need to undo. It's gonna be under there, and then this piece has to come off, this piece has to come off, and then you should be able to move this up out of the way and then get started on the radio. So I'm going to continue to make a couple more videos. I don't know what order things are going to go in, of taking this apart, putting the new radio in, testing the radio out. I don't know how long this video is going to be, so we shall see. And hopefully I don't break anything else, so I'll let you know. So this side was a lot more difficult than the other side. The other side popped out pretty easily. I ended up chipping up this side some, right in here. These little metal pry bars are not the thing to use for this. I just don't have the plastic ones. And I'm stubborn, and I'm doing it this way. I know it's wrong, but I'm doing it. Got it out. There's your bolt right there. Bolt right there. Setting these to the side. This does work well to get in between this area, which is great, and there's flex to this too. This will push out the way. So it does work. I don't suggest it, definitely not, because I chipped it up a couple times. I am going to wrap those later, so I'm not super worried about chipping them up, but I do need to be careful on other things, especially up in here. I don't want it to show through the wrap if it's chipped. So I gotta be more delicate with some stuff. But there's that. I am proud to say that one came out with no chipping. But the interesting thing is, somebody else chipped it. It's already all chipped up. Yeah, these things are crap, so they're definitely getting wrapped in a nice brushed black metal look. That was the plan anyways. Now, I'll show you how this one was really, really easy. If you get the pry bar and you put it right into the top here, kind of just wedge it in between, push out, move down, wedge it in, push it out. This one was a lot looser, and this one came out very, very easy. So then you just grab it and pop that out. And this one you gotta finagle it out a little because it's got some curved end pieces. So you've got to kind of slide it over a little bit. You've got to wiggle it around to actually get it out. Don't try to pull straight out because you'll probably break those clips. I actually saw this on another YouTube video, so I can't take credit for knowing that, but it is very useful to know, because if you didn't, you'd probably break those. So that's all of the dash pieces that actually need to come out before the radio. Now we need to work on these 2 bolts here. Oh, wait. I didn't notice. I'm going to be doing some trial and error here because it might be these bolts here. And I really shouldn't be teaching this because I am learning myself. But you know what? We'll get something useful out of this. And my trial and error will be your getting it right the first time. So that's what it's looking like right now. You got this piece out, this piece out. The trim on each side here and here. You're gonna go for these 2 bolts here, and then I'll let you know next where we're at. If this thing starts just coming out, we might be able to just pull it out by hand. I don't know if this shifter is in the way. I don't know a lot, you know? You shouldn't be listening to me, but you are, so we'll continue this. Okay, progress report. So, it's 7mm bolts. They go right in here on both sides. So you take those out. Then, what you do is you put your parking brake on. Very, very important. Make sure that parking brake is all the way down. Alright, put this back into, well, alright, key on, put it into drive. Wiggle this thing until it pops up. It's got little clips on it underneath. It'll pop up, it'll slide back. It'll give you access to this because there's 2 clips on the bottom of the radio that attach into it. There's the second clip right there. They attach into this piece. So you can't pull the radio out without pulling this out of the way first. So now the radio comes a whole, this piece, I was nervous. It felt like it was holding somewhere and I didn't want to break anything. But I did it anyways, because that's what I do. And yeah, I didn't disconnect the battery. So, you should do that. So now this is out of the way here. Now I need to see what I need to disconnect from this radio. And if, you know what? It is actually free to move about the cabin. Yeah, you can just slide this right out of the way. And you've got, bam, there it is. The guts of the CTS. She's looking healthy. I think we're doing alright. So, I'm going to go and unplug a bunch of junk and see if I can't put it back together. Humpty Dumpty hopefully can go back together. I think we're going to make this happen. A quick note here is that your connector that's right here goes to the lighter port that's in the cubby and the bottom that's right about here. The little tab to pull it off is in the side here, and it's really, really hard to get to. It clips in right there. I fooled with it for about 5 minutes before figuring that out, and once I was able to push that down, it released super easy. So you've only got the plug right here to disconnect and that to disconnect to actually take it off, which is this one right here and the little lighter socket dealio. And this is the back. That's actually really clean. There's not a whole lot behind here. Of course, once I take this out, there's going to be a couple of little connectors, cables behind here. So there's that. And I need to take this out for the new install, but I got to work on this thing because I got to put those AC vents on the new one. I've got to figure out how this attaches to the new one because it's got a weird board right in the way that I don't know what it is. But I'm going to make this thing work, and I'll figure it out as I go. And then I can let you know. Alright. So I've got the install mostly done. The wiring was really, really straightforward. The thing that was an issue here was these. Oh man, and my hand. Jacked up my hand a little bit. So these buttons, you have to take and disassemble the old radio, take those out, and they have like a rubber pad behind them. You've got to take out like tons and tons of screws, pull things apart, and then you have to swap over each of these panels, both sides, this piece and your cubby piece. Sorry, it's actually kind of dark out. I don't have it buttoned up yet. I might just go back, pull this thing out and show you the wiring. Undecided on that because this was quite difficult to get in there in the first place. But that was a pain, and then getting it to where these buttons didn't bind up and stick down. You had to get the screws like just right in there. But I think it's worth it if You know, I looked online and I read a lot of stuff that was kind of negative, but a whole lot of positive as well. So it was kind of a mixed bag on this. A lot of people didn't like your home screen, which I wholeheartedly agree. This home screen is cheesy, but this graphic for the AC controls and the top controls is one that I picked that I like. Now, the way you can change that is you go to settings here, you go to, let's see if I can get this right here, system, maybe I'm wrong, system version, and you hold here until this pops up. You put 7890 OK, pulls up this, you go to system. Wow, it's really hard to, I'm sorry, you couldn't see any of that. Let me do this again. Okay, here, system version right here, this part, press in the center. Sorry about that whole thing being all out of focus. 7890 OK. Now, you go to system. Now you go down here to, keep on scrolling, 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 scrolling. Just keep going. Okay, there it is. Alright. UI. This one right here, the black UI, the theme. You can change these as you want. The way it came on mine was the black UI with the red theme, but I changed it to the classics theme because red here doesn't go with the vehicle really at all. There's nothing red. Well, yeah, that's a lot of red. Anyways, I like blue better. For AC stuff, blue seemed fitting, so that's what I went with. And it's got the black theme for everything else, which is pretty clean looking. I'm going to be using this right here, which is for the Apple CarPlay. And I've got my USB set up. You can't see that whatsoever. It's too dark. My USB setup is where that lighter used to be at the very bottom in the cubby, but it's got two USBs now that are connected to this. So all these buttons function unlike the Metra kit, which it is Metra, right? Or is it the other one? I think it's the other one. They leave you with like nothing working. You've got all those extra panels there to control the radio that's no longer there. So this is your setup here. Let's do the home. That's what it mainly looks like, but I'm going to be using Apple CarPlay like 100% of the time, so you won't see any of this. It'll be Apple CarPlay taking up the whole screen other than this bottom part here and the top part here, which I think are pretty clean looking anyways. Even though it's redundant, you have AC controls there and there. I don't mind it. So that's what it's going to be. And I'm going to install that pretty soon. I've got to install an app, and I will show you what that looks like, and then get everything all buttoned up because it's still taken apart some. And I'm going to do a full review on everything because I've messed with it a little bit, but you know, not a crazy lot. It's I mean, it's very responsive. The startup time is slightly slow. Let me see if I can get this to show. Yes, that's what that top screen looks like. It's clean looking. And so far, it's better than what we have stock. It may not be the best. It is the best that's out there. There's nothing else available that's like this. The other kits just leave buttons useless and stupid things that is just bothers me. Now, this thing, it's showing the temperature in Celsius, but on here it shows it in Fahrenheit. I've read that there's a fix for that somewhere. I haven't looked into it yet because I just finished this install, and it's pretty much dark out. It took me from 11 in the morning to right now is like almost 7. I mean, on and off. I've kind of been doing other stuff in between too, but some of it's not easy. This part took the most work, was changing out these buttons, putting the screws on the back of it, all that stuff. I have some pictures of all that, but I didn't take any videos. I was so aggravated the whole time. But it worked out. It's there. And then, you know, I think this is going to be the most in-depth video on YouTube right now, because no one talks about attaching those buttons. You know, a few things that I'm going through the whole install. And I have the Bose sound system, and so far I have no buzzing, I have no issues with the audio. The audio sounds great. I ran Bluetooth actually to it, no issues. And so far, we're not saying for sure, but so far I'm really liking it, and I think it's definitely an upgrade to what's stock, and it's the best that's out there right now. There could be improvements, but it's really good. Alright, so it's next day. I got Apple CarPlay working on here now. It appears that any Apple CarPlay dongle will work with the Tesla radios in general. Mine's the 2 gigabyte RAM version with 64 gigabytes of storage. It should work on the 1 gigabyte ones just the same. It's just an Android system, and it runs through the USB, which I couldn't show you last night because it was too dark. You really couldn't see it. So that's the stock cubby piece that had like the cigarette lighter there where you could plug a charger into. So I put that into it. And this is Apple CarPlay, and it's got the bars on the top and the bottom, same as, you know, the regular system. But this, I like it so much better because I use an iPhone, and this is useful to me. You can get whatever apps that you want on it. Actually, I don't even know how to do anything other than that. It's all I've ever used. You know, you've got your Apple Maps, whatever version they use. I don't even know what it is. I guess this is the recently used stuff right here. So you can do like a quick, like you can click on stuff. There's man, these don't show up well. That's the Pandora logo. Weird. I don't know why it doesn't record that well. It looks different. So everything you want to use from the iPhone is right there, ready to go. And so let me just show you a couple things going on in here. The bracket right here, I haven't put the screws in yet. They screw in up here, right there. And, you know, I contemplated back and forth to show you guys the wiring behind this thing. And I'm going to go ahead and do that because, you know, you've got a lot of it right here. These harnesses, the other end plugs into your stock harness. So it's got a pre-made harness that everything is just plug and play. You don't splice any wires, nothing like that. This empty one right here is the GPS one. Now I thought I could use my stock GPS antenna, which is up here, which would have been nicer. But the issue with that is my cable is too short. It won't reach up there because the stock one plugs in like the center of the back, and that doesn't work. So this right here is the Wi-Fi antenna. That right there is your radio plug, and they're all just adapters to go to your stock plugs. There's nothing new going in here. There's nothing that's even gonna mess you up for putting this in. It's very easy. And you've got back in here, it's on the other side of that, there's a fuse for the unit right there. So if something happens, doesn't turn on, whatever, check that fuse, because I'm pretty sure that's a main fuse right there, you know, like your average radios have. It's not too complicated. There's not a whole lot to it. Just plug and play. I mean, they say it on their ad. I didn't know if I believed it, but it's plug and play, and it's all good. And one thing I noticed this morning, I went and I started up the car immediately without going to the accessory mode, and it didn't turn on, which is not very promising. It's a little scary. But I like it. I don't know what else to say about it. It's decent, it's quick. So, you know, this is Apple CarPlay. This looks a lot better. If I'm looking at this while, you know, I'm driving, when I casually look down, it looks a lot better than this. That's ugly. So now when you want to get into Apple CarPlay, you're going to hit App List. You're going to go to Auto Kit right there. And bam, there it is. Super easy. Couldn't get any easier. I'm still pretty happy with it. Although a couple odd things like it not starting once. So I'm definitely going to update on that to see how reliable this thing is. And I just want to show you as well that all these buttons do work. And I tested it all before I actually put everything together, because the first time I got it and the board was upside down, all these buttons were loose in here. So you can tell that that board is on wrong if these buttons don't give you that key press. What's happening here? I'm confused by that, shouldn't it? Oh, I guess that's how you take it off of auto. Okay, so it's not broken. We're good. That scared me. All these work. You know, you hit that, you've got your hazards. Bam. Hit it. Bear off. You got the traction control button right here. That works as well. These, same as stock. They're not actually buttons. They're just indicators if the airbag is on or off. And you can do this now. Okay, this thing right here, there's a little, that it shows 1. I think it changes the screen brightness. It doesn't really seem to do a lot that I can tell. But when you hit this, it turns the screen off, and then you can hit it again, turns it back on. At night, I went and I drove last night, and I just turned it off because it was too bright. I don't know how to adjust all that. And one thing that's kind of cool is it's got a little indicator right here. It says that a USB is plugged in. You've got all your little logos for everything that's up. I've got it connected to my Wi-Fi right now so that I could download. And here, let me show you the one that I got. Now, like I said, you can get any one. Any one of these Apple CarPlay dongles will work. I got this one on Amazon for like 40 or 50 bucks, something like that. And it's the Auto Kit one. It's called CarLink It, except that they made it look like Carlin Kit. I don't know what's wrong with them. It works really well. It works great for this system. I can say that that works. I've seen other ones being sold for about $100 from Phoenix Audio. And they sell this exact same unit for over $1,000. You can get it on eBay way cheaper, and they're the exact same thing. And same with that. You can get it pretty much anywhere, cheap, and it all works together. I mean, I've showed you. Go straight to, you know, Apple CarPlay. That's great. It has everything you would need in a aftermarket radio, and it works very quickly. It responds really nicely. I guess if you hold that, you can get Siri and use that. You can do text messages, phone. It shows right there. I've got 3 missed phone calls, 2 text messages that I haven't checked in a long time. But anyways, there it is. Okay, at this point, I am putting everything actually back together. As I said, I ended up not being able to fit my GPS antenna there, so I put one directly behind here. It's right up in the center of this. So that's the one that actually came with this unit. I was trying to be fancy and make it integrate with mine, but that didn't work. So there it is. It's all clipped in now. It is screwed in there. By the way, you don't have to touch these. Right here. There. And, oh, I covered that one. Ha, I forgot I did that. Yeah, so, and there's little brackets up there. Let's see if I can, there, now you can see it. There's 2 little brackets right there. I need to get this to fit flush better. I've actually heard of other people having issues with that. It's just a hair over this. And if I bring it down a little, it'll match up along here, which would be nice. So I'm putting all the pieces back in. I'll continue to mess with this a little bit, because this you can just pop off independent of the whole radio situation. And that's all coming back together. It wasn't too bad. So I think if you are somewhat confident, I think you can do this yourself. It's not a big deal.